You wake up before dawn because someone is making a sound your brother has never made before. A wet, tearing cough, over and over like his lungs are trying to leave his body. By midday, he can't stand. By nightfall, two more people in your camp are making the same sound. You have no idea what this is. You've never seen it before. There is no word for it because the word hasn't been invented yet. All you know is that 4 days ago, everyone was fine, and now a fifth of your group can't get up. And something is moving through your camp that you cannot see, cannot fight, and cannot outrun. So you do what people always do when something terrifying has no explanation. You invent one. Someone remembers that 2 full moons ago, a stranger passed through your camp and your brother argued with him over a stretch of hunting ground. Someone else remembers that an old woman on the edge of camp muttered something under her breath the week before after being denied a share of meat. By the third night, the story has hardened into fact. Someone did this. A curse, an insult to the spirits, paid back through sickness. This isn't a stupid theory. It's the only theory available. And it's one your species will keep reaching for, in one form or another, for tens of thousands of years. Anthropologists studying the Azanda people of Central Africa in the 20th century, most famously in E. Evans Pritchard's 1937 field study, documented a society where illness, crop failure, even a stubbed toe, were routinely explained by witchcraft, and where the explanation wasn't seen as irrational at all. It was the only rational question worth asking, not what caused this, but who. Centuries later, in medieval Europe, historians tracking witch trial records found accusations spiking hardest in the exact years agricultural failures and disease struck communities worst. Fear needs somewhere to go. A person is easier to fight than a bacterium nobody can see. So the old woman is driven out, and your brother is still coughing. 3 more days pass, and the whole theory quietly fails the only test that matters. It doesn't work. The sickness doesn't stop. It reaches the family who defended the old woman. It reaches the healthiest hunter in camp, a man who insulted no one and cursed nothing. Whatever this is, it doesn't care about blame. And somewhere in that failure, without anyone announcing it, a much older, far less dramatic idea starts working instead. Someone notices that the people who slept closest to your brother are the ones getting sick next. Not the ones who argued with him. Not the ones who wronged the old woman. The ones who shared his fire. So your camp does something it has never consciously decided to do. It starts pulling the sick to the edge of the group. Not out of medicine. Out of dread. The same flinch that makes you step back from a stranger's cough today has a name now. Psychologists call it the behavioral immune system. It was already running in your ancestors 50,000 years before anyone had a word for it, and it was right long before anyone understood why. This wasn't unique to your camp. Long before anyone wrote the word quarantine, the practice shows up baked directly into the oldest surviving law codes we have. Leviticus describes examining a person with a spreading skin affliction, shutting them away from the camp, and checking on them days later to see if it's spreading, a repeatable procedure, not a one-off. Someone's grandparents had already run this experiment 1,000 times before it became scripture. And your camp isn't only pulling the sick away. Someone is also trying to treat them. At a cave called El Sidrón, in what is now Spain, a Neanderthal died roughly 49,000 years ago with an abscess in his jaw and a gut infection that would have made eating agonizing. When researchers led by Karen Hardy examined the fossilized plaques still stuck to his teeth, they found something that shouldn't have been there for a starving, sick individual. Traces of yarrow and chamomile. Both bitter, both worthless as food, both still recognized today as natural anti-inflammatories. Somebody, maybe him, maybe someone who loved him, was feeding a dying man medicine instead of food 49,000 years before the word medicine existed to describe what they were doing. Your brother gets the same treatment. Bitter roots, forced down by someone who has no idea why they sometimes work and sometimes don't. He is moved to the edge of the group. He is watched. Some nights, someone sits with him anyway, close enough to catch it themselves, because leaving him completely alone feels like a different kind of wrong. He survives. Not everyone does. Now go forward thousands of years. to a farming settlement in what's now Sweden, around 4,900 years ago. Bodies start appearing in the burial ground without the careful ritual given to everyone before them. Rushed, undecorated, some of them alone instead of with family. When researchers sequenced ancient DNA from those remains in 2019, they found Yersinia pestis. Plague. The same disease, the same bacterium, moving person to person through breath and close contact, through a settlement that depends on close contact to survive. Homes nearby go quiet in the record for generations. No burn marks, no weapons. Just an ending with no story attached to it, because everyone who could have told it is gone. That settlement either never learns the instinct your camp just stumbled into, or learns it too late, losing an argument that people elsewhere have already been slowly winning for tens of thousands of years. Here's what nobody in your camp will ever know, and what you don't need to know either. Disgust is cheap and immunity is expensive. A body that flinches away from sickness spends nothing. A body that has to fight the sickness off spends everything, and sometimes loses anyway. So somewhere back down your family line, the people who felt nothing when the person next to them was vomiting or feverish didn't get the chance to pass that indifference forward. You are descended, specifically and directly, from the ones who flinched. You never found out what actually killed your brother's friends, or why the bitter roots helped, or why moving the sick away worked when blaming the old woman didn't. You just noticed that it worked, and did again next time, and so did your children until it wasn't a decision anymore. It was just what a body does. The next time you catch yourself leaning away from a stranger's cough on a crowded train, know what you're actually doing. You're not being rude. You're finishing an argument your ancestors started around a fire long before they had a name for what they were fighting, and long before they stopped being afraid it was someone's fault.